tonight, super quick vlog, just a simple question. Is Gene Simmons the greatest rock villain of all time? I am on a huge, like 78 Gene Simmons solo album kick. I don't know why. Maybe it's summer, maybe it's Phantom, maybe it's just because I love this record. But tonight, I posed this question to Dan. We'll see Dan's results soon after I explain why I think Gene Simmons is the greatest rock villain of all time. Reasons why Gene Simmons is the greatest rock and roll villain of all time. Was he the first? No. This man was the first. Alice Cooper, the very first, pop culture wise, shock rock villain. Even before going solo for the Welcome to My Nightmare album, when Alice Cooper was the Alice Cooper Band, he was still a villain. He was still shocking. He was scaring audiences everywhere. When those doors closed on the arena, it became a horror show, and he was the best at it, and he still is the best at it. He is the originator. Everyone should bow down to Alice Cooper, but in my eyes, he's not the greatest, because although he's very creepy, and although on stage when he becomes that character, he's very badass, I don't run down the street in fright from Alice Cooper the way you would a Jason Voorhees, a Michael Myers, a Freddy Krueger. I do, or I would as a child, from that man. And the same can be said for Ozzy. I think Ozzy's persona as a rock and roll wild man outweighs his villain demeanor. Album covers like Bark at the Moon, Diary of a Madman, and Speak of the Devil especially were, elementary school legend. Something you should be afraid of. I remember hearing on the hall school playground that Ozzy took a box of puppies and threw them into the audience and would not play until every puppy was dead. So stories like that do create frightening aspects in your mind as a child, but looking over the career of Alice and Ozzy and then Kiss, in my eyes, this man once again wins greatest rock and roll villain. And a few examples why. 1976, Destroyer is released, and an iconic album cover, but who do your eyes gravitate towards? I saw this cover in 1980, and I had no idea who Kiss was, and I even went home and was attempting to draw Gene Simmons. Got in trouble by my mom because she loved the 700 Club.
Satan's targets.
But regardless of that, your eyes draw to Gene. The boots, the fist, the hair, the makeup. You're just drawn to him. He's the icon of the band. 1977, one of the greatest album covers of all time. On the front, still very cool, but you flip to the back and you see that. Altered or not, more blood added or not, that is an amazing photo. That is horror personified. And that is the kind of thing that 7-year-old kids in 1977 were afraid to turn off the lights for. Right there. That is fantasy, that is scary, that is horror. And then you go 1978, disregard the music on his solo album, the cover itself, with that blood dripping down, the chain, the red aura around him, and marketing, toys, just that horror movie vibe. Dracula's tomb, cobwebs highlighted in the background, that cape. My buddy Scotty and I this morning were talking about capes, and like every great villain had a cape. Dracula, Darth Vader, Gene Simmons. Every great villain has a cape. And it's just so absolutely perfect villain. Even like being a kid, picking up these magazines, just look at that demeanor on his face. You would stare at that all day long when you got home. And pictures like this, on the inside, who looks badass in that photo? Oh, this guy in the background, sticking his tongue out. And even when you think about it, Alice was never marketed as like a specific villain. He was just Alice Cooper, this crazy villain. Gene Simmons was actually marketed, planned out and marketed as a villain. Gene Simmons, vampire. And let us not forget this interview, the very first appearance of Kiss on national TV. This interview where Gene states he is evil incarnate. Think about the enormity of Gene doing that interview. 1974, no one knew them at all. Outside of New York City, outside of their own family, outside of their own close-knit group, no one knew them. To go on national TV in makeup, believing in your persona, and convincing the world of your persona, but just the balls to go out on national TV and say, I am evil incarnate. I enjoy that interview so much. Years ago, I made a t-shirt of that moment in time. And let's not forget, the man breathed fire and spit out blood. We kind of take it for granted today, but in 1978, that was amazing. And I mean, I did miss out on Kiss. I missed out on Kiss in the 70s, but this is me, 1978, dressed as Darth Vader. And Darth Vader was everything to me as a child. This was my favorite breakfast milk glass in the world. Empire Strikes Back came out, I would have been 7. I would have been prime to have a villain like Darth Vader in my life. And to me, Gene Simmons is the Darth Vader of Kiss. He is the one that the kids before me that could enjoy Kiss in the 70s gravitated towards. I didn't have it. I gravitated towards that man. But knowing that, I know who I would have gravitated towards had I been a Kiss fan, 1978. So speaking of Darth Vader, Obi-Wan is on, and there's Nerd Talk every Wednesday night. And last Wednesday I texted Dan and I said, as you and I spoke about Darth Vader, curious on Dan's thoughts on the greatest rock villain. I said, you look at Gene, especially 76, 78, when he was really into making those faces. And Dan hit the nail on the head. He said, yep, Gene took it to the highest level. Do the devil horns and stick out your tongue, and everyone in the world knows who you're imitating, not just rock fans. And to me, that is why I think we're even talking about this tonight. That is probably even why I do this channel every Friday night. Gene Simmons had an impact on me when I was a teenager. I love Paul, I love Ace, I love Peter. I love every member of every era of Kiss. But it was Gene Simmons who turned me into a dreamer, who turned me into not just wanting to be a normal kid, not just wanting to be a normal teenager. I wanted to grow up and I wanted to do something cool. I developed a lifelong, huge bond friendship with Dan. And it's all because of this band, and it's all because of Gene Simmons. And, you know, to be nearing 50 years old and you're still best friends with the guy that you were best friends with when you were 14, riding a BMX bike, talking about taking over the world. That's pretty badass, and I owe it all to this man, the greatest rock villain of all time, Gene Simmons. Thank you for hanging with us tonight. Thank you for waxing a little rock and roll nostalgia with us, talking the greatest rock and roll villain of all time. Last Wednesday was the final episode of Obi-Wan. We got our Darth Vader back. My 8-year-old self has never been more pleased than I have been this summer. Be good to your babies. Take care. Be safe. We, spay, neuter, microchip. Take care. Be safe. We will talk to you soon. Pee Wee says, don't leave me out of the vlog. I am here too. Good night.